Hi there, welcome back to the Education System Reboot channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about sequencing, but using the analogy of percussion. And the reason I'm going to do that is number one, as a musician, I have kind of been proposing the hypothesis that music education as a art of teaching, a system, is really a great model for all education. And so my hope is in this video, I will model that, demonstrate that. Why I'm doing this video today is earlier today when I was teaching, I was doing online distance learning through COVID with one of my students who is a percussionist. And I am not a trained percussionist, but as a educator who understands the idea of sequencing things, I feel like I've gotten pretty good at kind of teaching kids how to teach themselves, teaching them how to create routines, etc. And so what I wanted to do is I kind of wanted to use, again, the percussion world as that metaphor. And so I'm going to share my screen now. And oh, it took a few times. There we go. All right. So what you should be seeing is a page from the Vic Firth website, which is a percussion website that makes percussion sticks and percussion equipment. And I have this link to my website, and this is what I coach my percussion through. And I use this basically as their curriculum. And it's actually done really well. So if you are a music teacher or music educator and you haven't explored the Education 40 Essential Rudiments, I highly recommend it. It's laid out really good. So anyway, this first page has a kind of what he calls a four-tiered sequence, which I love. I love that word sequence. I'm really a big fan of that. And so what he does is he basically has this tier one, which is what I would call, and I think he would call as well, the foundational skills of percussion, right? And what's interesting about how he did this is all of these lead to these other ones. Or another way, the tier 2, 3, and 4 are built on top of the tier 1. So you can't magically work on these other ones unless you have mastered these tier 1. So today, in my class, when I was teaching my student, we were talking about the idea of goal setting. And I asked him this straight up question. I said, all right, in this 2 months, which would be the end of our semester, what would you like to see? Where would you like to see like a goal? And he said, well, I'd like to feel like I'm really good at tier 2. And that's, we're in this. We haven't done all these, but we're working through this. And I thought, okay, that's great. And so I said, why don't we talk about how to accomplish that goal? And so again, that's the point of this video, to kind of recreate what I told him, hopefully doing it better, but who knows. And then allowing us to kind of see how this design of curriculum, the sequencing, designing the sequencing of skills is really, I think, at the heart of great education across the board. So anyway, basically, to kind of lay the framework, I have requested, or we've developed this kind of 5-minute maintenance routine, and it involves these tier 1 skills. So my student is expected to do all these before he comes to the Zoom and be prepared. And then we work through some of these tier 2 rudiments or skills. And what we're discussing today is how, we want to set a goal of getting all of these. And so we also watched some of the videos and kind of went to the pages for these to kind of learn what they are and kind of get a sense of what it would take to get to that goal 2 months from now of knowing all of these tier 2 skills. He knows about a third of them, I would say. And he's dabbled in maybe another third, but there's a third he didn't really know. So we explored them. Okay, so hopefully you followed me up to this point. And so at one point I talked about, okay, so the goal of creating and working through all these skills is to spend some time on the individual skills. And once you've kind of mastered or gotten to a place where you feel very competent, you would move it over here and make it part of what's called your maintenance routine, right? And so we were talking about how to plan that and how to do that. And then I also gave him this idea of, okay, so we've got, I think I counted them, there's 12 tier 2 rudiments. So I said, well, here might be another system or another approach to do it. Focus on 6 on a Monday and another 6 on Tuesday, and alternate. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you work on 6 of them. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you work on another 6. And then what I said is on Sunday, you take the ones that you're finding most difficult and just add, do a little bit more. So again, we're building in systems. We're building in routines to allow us to get to that level, okay? And then I share this story with him, again, about being a professional musician. And first of all, let me use this phrase. And I've used it in a different video, but I want to use it again. in music, I say this: the music will always change. The skills needed to play the music never change, right? So if we take just that phrase and we think, all right, this tier one, he's saying these are the skills that never change. You're going to need these 6 skills for everything, okay? And I think he's kind of right as I've been exploring this. And so these other skills, they will change depending on the music, etc. So you have to have mastered these skills, which will then lead to the others. Another way to think of that is, and this is what I shared today, is as a professional musician, I'm in a place in my life where I usually, pre-COVID, usually would have a gig every month, every 6 weeks, something like that. Nothing profound, but it was enough to keep me satisfied as a musician. And what I was explaining to him is, I can't use each gig as this magic thing to magically fix skills, right? Number one, because the music will always change. I don't know what the music's going to be. Number two, it's kind of athletic, so I have to keep myself in shape. I can't just wait for a gig to stay in shape. And so, I was describing how I have maintenance routines all the time. I have daily routines. And what I was trying to, and I even said, again, think about all the music you've played. Like, the mastery of these skills, what is called the 40 rudiments in percussion, that mastery is going to allow him to play any music that's put in front of him because he has the foundational skills, the foundational components of the music, and he's spent time developing routines and basically mastering those skills. So again, we explored this, and in the end, I felt like I had explained it quite well about the idea of how you have maintenance routines, then you have to have routines of growth, right? Routines of trying to work through new skills. Once those new skills are mastered, you have to have a way of maintaining those skills, right? So that's what I would do. Once I master a tier 2 skill, I would move it back over to tier 1 and make that part of my maintenance routine. Okay, so first off, if I pause, I hope that all made sense. I know if you're not a musician, I might be speaking a slightly different language. But here's my point. Okay, so if we use the music will always change, that could be the test. There's always new tests, new units. But the foundational skills that kids need are the study skills, the organizational skills. If it's and there's probably skills specific to each class, like for writing. I mean, kids probably need to get in the habit of journaling. Can they spell, right? Do they have some sort of daily routine, whether they have it or whether we teach it, where they're working on spelling words? I hate to say this. I've noticed with my son who's in 2nd grade, I ask him about spelling. They do sight words, but they don't practice spelling. At least that's what he told me. And I thought to myself, man, that's awful. Now, spelling was not a strength of mine, but what is a strength is building systems. So the reality is, if I wanted to get better in an area, I would develop a system, and I know I could get better. Like, I have no lack of confidence in my ability to achieve things. In a weird way, the fact that I have no lack of confidence is hard, because then I know I could achieve whatever I want. So then it's like, well, then I get overwhelmed because I don't know what to pick, right? All that is to say, building systems. That word systems is just such an important word for my what's the word, hypothesis here, my channel, my vision. All right, so where was I? Sorry, I kind of digressed there. I apologize. Anyway, I guess I just wanted to share this kind of interaction I had with a student, where I basically just showed him how easy it could be to build a goal, to strive for something, if you build the right system, if you build the right habits. And like I said, I hope that just by talking through this, you're seeing ways you could do this in your own classroom, for whether it's just, again, for an English class, just a set reading time every day, and you just focus on that habit, right? Because wouldn't you say that that's a foundational habit? Maybe a foundational note-taking system, or I think the word is annotating, right? But a system for annotating what you read, a system for for prioritizing. Do we model that every day within a routine, or do we just pick and choose here and there? I'll kind of end with this, I think. I don't need to share the screen. I would like to, be able to kind of look bigger picture. So if we think of the tests, right, as these moments in time, the dilemma is, each test isn't magically going to fix kids' habits or fix them. Now, they might progressively get better, of course, by test after test, going through this process. But my worry would be that they're so few and far between, right? Between each assessment or test, if we don't address the underlying habits that are foundational, or create routines that prepare them for every test, right? The test will always change. The skills needed to do the test never change, right? Does that make sense? And so again, these are those concepts that I'm constantly wrestling with, and I'm trying to apply to a bigger picture. And this is again why I'm so passionate about music education, because I believe it was buried within the system of music, of learning an instrument. Okay, buried within that learning an instrument, there is a system that could be applied to every area of the education system. And that's, again, the point of this channel is to keep coming back, keep coming ideas, keep pointing out connections, so that we as educators, or I mean, maybe you're not an educator, administrators, whatever, can start laying out a clearer vision, a clearer system. Because I can't, like I said, I've said this a lot of times, I can't unfeel what I feel. I cannot unsee what I see. We must find a way to put the system back in the education system. All right, with that said, as always, consistent effort over time equals success. Thank you.